there, YouTube. I thought I'd do a quick update on the Scrambler project. For those of you who may be following this on forums or even old videos, there hasn't been much of an update in some time, and I guess the thing to consider as well is that this originally was designed or intended as a track bike, and that hasn't happened. Don't worry about the license plate. It's old and it's not associated with a current bike that I've got under my name anyway. So yeah, lots of changes, and maybe just as an overview, I'll start from the front, because technically this is probably one of the trickiest builds I've ever done. So as always, a lot of these things start with some sort of YouTube or Facebook or eBay searches, and sure enough, it started with these ZX6R front forks from a 2003-2004, so the first year of the radial calipers, and again, you know, the quote-unquote good price. I rebuilt them. I had to replace some pieces on them, but some new seals, some fresh oil, a good clean, and they work. So then I had to figure out what will they fit into. And I've had lots of Ducati frames over the years, and I happened to find the Scrambler frame. And I picked the Scrambler mainly because with this model year, this is the first version. The newer ones had a bolt-on subframe. But if you squinted and thought really hard, the architecture here, at least from this point forward, I wouldn't say looks like, but is not unlike a pure Robon Super Sport frame. I'm sure the geometry is a million miles out. It's way heavier. It's built to carry 2 fat North American passengers. So aside from the architecture of the frame, not even the I guess geometry, it looks similar to that. So I thought, well, I'll start with that. Again, you know, I always brag about how I got these things for quote-unquote a really good deal, and all of this stuff, you know, I purchase usually because I can get it for a quote a really good deal. So that's what I did, and I immediately saw that the original Scrambler swing arm, and as you know, with Scramblers, it's side mounted on the other side. That's super heavy. Didn't allow for much freedom and flexibility in terms of what you do with the tail end of the frame. So me being me, I cut off these tubes. I left these main supporting tubes in place, ground off the swing arm mount. And the interesting thing is that on this side, I think because of how this was all welded up here, and I did a pretty good job grinding this all down and getting rid of it, but there was either some heat or some tension on the frame, in that these moved slightly, so I had to heat it all up, and I have a bare frame, bare engine as kind of a jig, and I put the bolts in and gotten it straightened out. So I got that done, and then I welded on these subframe mounts, got rid of the X brace and that sort of thing, and as you can see, I've put on a very rare 900 SS or 1000 SSDS swing arm, and they call it the pure Robon swing arm because it's a bit nicer and contoured than certainly the steel swing arm that came on Super Sports, and even the aluminum swing arm that came on. So sort of figured that out, got my guy Brent to weld the shock mount up here, because that's pretty critical area. I don't want to trust my welding. I did this stuff here and this up here, and I was kind of happy with how it turned out. Needed to weld in a piece here to fit this Super Sport or Monster engine, and that's how I got started. So you got swing arm on, used just a steel rod to orient it, got it 340 millimeters length. Got the front forks on, needed some bearing conversions, need to monkey with the stem a bit to adjust the height of the steering stem. Found a tank. It needed a lot of work, but I was able to clean it up, as you can see. And again, I got Brent to weld in an AN fitting for a straight gravity feed fuel feed for these Chinese carbs. So this is where things get pretty technical, because The bike was originally designed with a 1:2 intake manifold and one throttle body. So to shoehorn two of these carbs in here was a bit tricky, but I made it work. I did see a nice Japanese build that actually, what did they do? They had proper split FCRs, but these are Chinese FCRs. And I shoehorned them in there. I'm still not 100% happy with the throttle cable routing on one of them, but I might work on that over the winter. So got them mounted up, and then of course I had to solve the ignition problem. So I went with Ignitec out of Czech Republic, but I actually bought the setup from Fast Bikes Gear in New Zealand. Liam Ventnor is his name. He set me up with everything, walked me through it because I'm a bit stupid when it comes to technology and computers, but got it all sorted up. And it runs. And you've probably seen some earlier videos of it running, so it does actually work the way it should. And I was well on my way to turning this into a track bike, and then, as you can see there, and you've seen some other videos, the ST3 project showed up, so this suddenly changed gears, and I was going to make it a fun little street bike. So then seat fairing is from Moto Forza Fairings. I had to glass in this lower extension piece here because it sort of sat up a bit too high. I needed the seat up a bit higher to fit all the electrical stuff underneath. And so I fiberglassed that on there, and lots of filler, lots of smoothing out, and it looks pretty decent. Basic 800 SS OEM headers. These are some GPR high mount link pipes, and mufflers, Leo Vence mufflers off a GSXR 1000 of all things. 5.8 cycle down in the States had the pair on for sale for like $258 US. So for a new set of mufflers, couldn't go wrong with that. 4.5 inch wide 900 SS wheel. Probably could have gone with a 5.5, but 4.5 for now. I'm going to see if I can't get the front wheel powder coated similar to the rear to match. You can see they've got Race Tech tires on it because, again, this was supposed to be a track bike, but they're fine for the street. This is definitely going to be a fair weather bike. My favorite AliExpress Chinese calipers, 84 millimeter spacing, cheaper than a rebuild kit from Brembo. Babyface, or what's the other name for them? Japanese call them Babyface. There's a different name for them in North America. Anyway, these are from an S2R, so I had to monkey around with some spacers and adapt that to work with the swingarm because I didn't want to run the foot pegs off of here at all. And of course then I had to wire it, so I had to modify the wiring quite a bit to make everything work. But that's my starter solenoid. I really wish I found a better spot for that, but that'll have to do. It's fine. Starter solenoids have to go somewhere. Normally on Super Sports they're right here or something like that, but I wanted this area clear because, as you can see, I need to get at the fuel pipe. I don't have a petcock shut-off valve on this. I do have a filter in the AN fitting, replaceable and cleanable and that sort of thing, but no fuel shut-off that I could figure out, so I leave that connected. Again, there might be a way for me to figure out some sort of decent inline fuel shut-off tap that I can figure out, but the Motion Pro connector is fine for now. Horn from a KTM 890, what do you know? Found some interesting pieces over the years. This is a really nice Ducati engine cover. This was a bit discolored, and I think there might be some scratches on this. This engine I bought used. It's an 800 IE engine. Got it out of Alberta Bike Breakers, I think they're called. So that covered that up nicely. So yeah, it was change the belts on it, that sort of thing. I'm going to relocate this regulator rectifier. It's out in the wind here, which is good to keep it cold. But I think I've figured out a way to actually mount it up underneath the seat here. Again, get a bit of breeze, certainly get away from the hot engine. But I can reroute the wires and cut them and modify them. I've got all the connectors and the crimping tools and that sort of thing to shorten that up. I think it's a better spot, and actually on my KTM 990 they put the reg rec right underneath the seat, near the wheels, so there's plenty of room underneath here. Light Tech frame protectors, engine protectors, whatever you want to call it. I think, the WP shock. I'm going to get the spring powder coated when I get the frame done. Still don't know what color I'm going to do the frame. I'm leaning towards a red, because the red brake hoses kind of contrast nicely with the purpley blue. That's a Subaru blue. You've probably seen them driving around the Outback for a few years. Had that nice blue color. They call it cool gray khaki, and depending on the light it looks gray, or it actually looks quite purpley blue depending on the color. Got these chrome side covers off of eBay. Nice little bar mount mirror. So these are SS 900 switchgear. I'm not going to fire it up, but I will show you the electrical. So my go-to favorite, Koso, with the instruments. This is the DBR2, super small, easy to set up. I put about 14 kilometers on the bike so far. It's safetied, so it's legal to license, but it isn't licensed. I've just been working through some jetting issues that I'm still trying to sort out. So high beam, low beam, turn signals, questionable legality there with bar end turn signals, but let's see. And also got the Moto Gadget ones on the rear. Koso rear brake, running light, brake light, license plate light, yeah, the tachometer. So yeah, it works really good. Went with a full douchebag hipster cafe racer front headlight with the X in it. That was from Speed Moto Co. You know, over $100 for a headlight, but I guess that's cheap nowadays. But anyway, it works really well, and it was easy enough to hook up. So yeah, as I said, I'm still trying to sort out jetting. I'm getting there. You know, jetting by the seat of your pants can be kind of tricky, and you're trying to interpret, you know, is the bike stumbling a bit because it's running rich or it's running lean. So out of safety's sake, I went richer on the Pilot and the needle. I think I've got the main correct, because, you know, I really haven't ridden it that hard, but like once you get past where the needle kicks in, it goes like a scalded cat. Like, it's quick because the bike is super light. So I'm pretty sure I've got the main jet sussed. I was way too fat on the Pilot for a while, so it was really running rough around 2,000 or 3,000 RPM, like right when it switches from the Pilot circuit to the needle circuit. So I went fairly drastically in the opposite direction. I'd gone up to a 60 Pilot. So it went down to a 50, immediately runs a bit better, maybe slightly lean when it starts to warm up, so I can still monkey with the fuel screws or go to a 52. And then I think the needles are 1 or 2 clips too high. So at right around like 3,000 RPM in second or third gear, when you're doing about 45 to 50 kilometers an hour, the speed limit, it still isn't running as cleanly as I'd like it to. So I think if I drop the needle 1 or 2 spots, I've actually even gone with a thinner taper needle. I think I'll be close. But anyway, that's the reality of running a carbureted bike, right? Is that you know, first off, the carbs have to be that balanced. So I got that done with my vacuum gauges. But then the idea of hooking up a laptop and making changes, you simply can't do that. So unfortunately, because of my design here, my custom-made intake manifold, thanks to Brent at Ironcraft, I have to take both carbs off just slightly to get at the fuel screws. Even if you put in an aftermarket finger adjustable fuel screw, it wouldn't quite work. So I have to take them off anyway. And then of course, adjusting the needles, you got to take off the tank. So whatever. That's just the joy of custom bikes. But I'll get there in the end. Hopefully I'll have it running the way I want to before winter kicks in. So I've got a couple months of pissing off the neighbors on Saturday morning as I ride this thing another 3 kilometers at a time just to test things out. When I've got it the way I want to, I'll take everything off it, get the frame powder coated, a few other sundry parts powder coated, and then it'll be quote unquote done. But yeah, the next steps is to keep working on the fueling. And then once I'm satisfied with that, I'll probably get a temporary plate put on it. You can do that for 3 days at a time, or even 5 days at a time in Manitoba, and give it a good run on a weekend where I've got some spare time, and make sure it works on the highways and take it for a longer distance anyway. When that's done, we'll get it cosmetically finished up over the weekend. I might also move this horn. It's somewhat discreet out of the way here, but these wires are in there, so I think I might have a spot for it right underneath the headstock where I can mount a slightly different horn and tidy up even more. But anyway, it's like I said, it's technically probably been the most difficult build I've done, simply because kind of what I started with in the first place. So anyway, certainly has been a lot of fun. And I think it'll be a pretty cool little cafe racer when all is said and done. Cognito Moto also has a custom-made top triple clamp that isn't leftover rebadged Kawasaki one, so I might treat myself to that to finish it off kind of nicely. And then of course if I do that, then I'll have to remake this dash, which means I might make it out of carbon fiber, and you can see where that goes. So anyway, I'm not sure how many people are watching, but yeah, thanks for watching. And if you have any great ideas about frame color, if I should just be daring and go with bright red, that's the direction I'm heading. Anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully I'll post a more frequent update than about a year, I think is the last one I did on this one. So like and subscribe if you haven't done so already.